Hey everyone, how's it going? Bowser the Healer here, and welcome to the Nokhud Offensive. Finally, I'm making this video. I've done Nokhud Offensives, but either they were lower keys or they were kind of close to timing, and I wanted one that was clean. I had a Fortified that was pretty good, but I said, you know what, it's Tyrannical week, the affixes aren't bad, let's give it a shot. And I'm really happy I did. This is probably the cleanest group I've played with. Really confidence inspiring from me. So I just want to note before we get into this, I'm going to be mostly focusing on boss fights, but I do have a note about this pack. On higher keys, just take this pack. Do not take more, and lusting it is like a-okay. Because if you do clear this pack quickly, you can just transfer to the next one, but there's so much incoming damage. If you don't have some really good CCs and like coordinate something like an overawe into some massive CC, you're just not going to keep the mobs down enough for the damage to be worth it. And honestly, two back-to-back packs with Lust, like if you do transfer the Lust from one to the other, is right here. So it's not a hard transfer. But Tyrannical week with a group like this, look at this Shadow Priest. They're hitting 200k. They spike, I think, even higher in this run. It just goes wonderfully. What I'm focused on in this pull is drop my Flame Breath at max level, get an instant cast of Leaping Flame up, so I do 20% more damage with it, and then, or with Living Flame, excuse me, and then throw Living Flame for the Leaping Flame to hit all the targets. And then I'm trying to always keep, I didn't really talk about this in a lot of my other runs, I'm trying to keep Reversion up at all times. You're going to see me Reversion the tank and then myself, so that there's two Reversions running, and if I'm really slick with it, I might start throwing more Reversions on people who only have one to farm more procs of Living Flame. But realistically, you also want Reversions for, you know, people dying. So it's fun to stack it up and get a ton, but if you want to hold for healing purposes, that's totally fine. But with 4-piece bonus, farming Reversions is everything. And yeah, if I got you lost in the mix a little bit there, yeah, farming your 4-piece is super cool. It does a lot of good things for you. It turns your Living Flame into a kind of excellent spot heal. A Living Flame's a good spot heal in the first place, and like if you have an Echo up, then charging up a Living Flame and throwing it at a target that isn't in immediate danger is a great way to heal them, but it's not good in an emergency. Having all of a sudden access to an instant cast 20% more damage and healing Living Flame is great. The more Reversions out, the more times it's ticking, and every time it ticks, there's a chance that it's giving you a proc. So the more the merrier. So yeah, you can, if you're like not worried about damage, you can Temporal Anomaly, give everyone Echo, Reversion the tank, Reversion yourself, and then off cooldown, Reversion the next player, Reversion the next player, throw another Echo, and then reapply Temporal Anomaly, and you're just going to be farming those all the time. It's great, it's fun. But if you need to keep a few Reversions around for healing, opening up with it's totally fine, and then later spot healing with Reversions is pretty nice. I'm trying so hard to keep this Hunter up. They got every bleed in the world, and I got 5 seconds on my Dispel, so it's pretty tragic just trying to do what I could to keep them up. But this group, like we have like one unfortunate death coming up here. The tank pulls a pack that I don't see many people pull, and they even mentioned that they should probably find another one. But this is, I think, some of the scariest pulls in the game, because in the next area, as long as you're good about kicking and CCing, you will fly through those packs, although they get out of control if you don't kick Tempest and whatnot. And then in the Necromancer area, as long as you're not double pulling like too many birds, things are fine. And even the good news about the birds in that area is that they are incredibly CCable, right? So you can stop a lot of their stuff with just crowd control. And it really works. Me running for my life away from that bird and then charge up that Flame Breath. I have an instant cast, throw the Living Flames. I'm Azure Striking as I walk around to see where I need my heals. That's one of my favorite parts about Azure Strike as a move, is like sometimes I'm just casting it to keep up my damage as I look to see what I need to be doing next. Is there any incoming damage I need to be prepared for? Okay, right here, I'm trying so hard to keep me or the tank up, and I died to Volcanic Plume. Oh, I get hit by this more than I should. I need to just be a little more aware. But the tank stays alive, and we're fine. I mean, it was also kind of tragic. I was getting targeted by everything, but not the end of the world, of course. And this is sort of it. We have deaths like this in the run, and there are not a lot of them. But onwards and upwards or whatever it goes, we're going to the first boss. So I call this boss Stone Dragon. Granith, sure, but Stone Dragon here, what do you do? So honestly, get your reversions out, right? Get Temporal Anomaly, get your stuff prepared. But you just start by doing some opening damage. Shards of Stone is the first instance of damage, so that's when you'll see me Temporal, and then I'm probably gonna, yeah, I Spirit Bloom instead of Reversion. I probably should have farmed some Reversions, if I'm gonna be honest with you, but like, it doesn't matter. I full heal everyone, and then you use this. You're all probably gonna take damage from shards, the shards again, or the stones. Heal everyone back up with a Dream Breath. If you miss someone, walk up to them, top them off. Help deal with the Saboteur. Rinse, repeat. The Saboteur is always running towards the next Ballista. That's a really nice way to remember it. You can also look up for the little dial, but I tend to try to look at the ad because it helps me out. And then as long as you do keep doing this, you'll just keep Eruption will never go off, and eventually Shards of Stone like that gets stopped as well. Rinse, repeat. Get that Flame Breath down. Make sure you're using Deep Breath so it's on cooldown. Farm up your reversions, and that's about all there is to it. This boss is incredibly easy. This is sort of the gimme of the dungeon, because as long as no one can die to Shards of Stone, you're fine. And if on a 19 we're almost losing half our health, then we could probably get away with all the way up to a 22 or a 23 without dying. So, and that's like without defensives, right? Now it's be a little hard to have defensives up for that move all the time, but it's very doable. I'm curious how high we can push the Nokhud key in terms of world record. But that's literally the whole boss fight. I will not waste all of your time watching that, because it is just looping that non-stop. Now we're going towards the scary boss. This is the one everyone's worried about. I want you all to know I might forget to lust here. I might have forgotten to lust. I can't remember lusting. I don't know if I pressed the button. We're going to find out together. So Temporal, get it on everyone, get all these ticks healing. Now I am running a slightly different build. This one's an extremely meta build where I run, I think it's called Grace Period. Oh, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where reversion, targets with reversion receive 10% more healing when you have 2 points in it. It's at the bottom of the tree. I will have it linked down below, of course. It's really good, but all the CC in the world here is what makes the difference. These storm bolts hurt, but if you can kick them, you're good. No one had a kick available there. Here come the kicks. This team played this beautifully. I see this pull go bad so often, but everyone did their job on damage there. Everyone picked the correct targets. Super clean. This group, there's no complaining. No, there wasn't a player in this group that I was like, oh man, they could have done better. Oh, they could have, like, everyone felt good. The big trick with these pulls really is make sure the totem dies. You're gonna see me target it here. I know that our damage is good, but yeah, make sure that Tempest gets kicked and you're golden, because Tempest is the move that stacks essentially an unhealable dot, right? The first tick is fine, but anything after that is a little too much, and it just ramps out of control completely. So as long as one person saves a kick for that, you're fine. And I think it needs to be a kick. I don't think it can be stopped. So I cannot believe they got slammed for that. You all just saw how that Shadow Priest just, where is it? Yeah, that Stormbolt did how much of their life? Ew, that did 80% on Tyrannical. Anyway, oh my god, I knew they got hit pretty hard, but like, I'm just sort of taking it in. That's a lot of damage. This mob gets skipped. I just saw this get skipped in the MDI. By the way, if you're interested in me commentating MDI content, I am going to do that. I'm going to watch some of the dungeons back and just provide my notes and talk about what I think they're doing and all that good stuff. I think the MDI is one of the coolest things in all of gaming. Right up there with my opinions about games done quick. I think Mythic Dungeon International is one of the coolest events on planet Earth. Very exciting. My only request on this is get your kicks ready. Just be very prepared. Keep people topped off to the best of your ability. Every once in a while you get targeted by Chain Lightning. And that hurts, right? The more spread you are, it should only hit one person. But as long as it doesn't hit one person, what happened to them? There's a Thunderstrike going off? They died to Thunderstrike? Oh, that's some chonky encoding right there. That's, oh my god. So I guess they just died to Thunderstrike being too close to them? My health bar's sort of in the way. But damn, rest in peace. I think I'm going to start live logging all my runs. so that I can go back and check that stuff for all of you. I also don't mind people just checking out my logs in general. So like if I have a run, I can attach the log so you guys can go check it out. But we'll just skip over to the boss because that's what we're really here for. Okay, I want to talk about it before we start watching it. Oh no, I can just start talking about it. So this boss, at this item level, the little motes that the boss throws out, they're, let me tell you, they're worth picking up. And not only are they worth picking up, you want to refresh them. You actually want to stack it up pretty high and then keep it going as a healer. You're not going to die to this. Like, you're fine, but getting as many of those as you can really helps with healing. So if people don't move in here, right, throw temporal anomaly towards 2 targets, right? Try to get 2, because you can always echo with a full stack of essence, right? If you're running 5 stacks. So you throw the temporal anomaly, you get 2, you echo the rest, and that's typically how I heal that. Now, this gets spooky, and I wasn't as prepared for it as I wish I was. So I pop double rewind, which is not ideal. I tend to try to pop a single rewind here and have a stasis completely ready, but I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't heal up as quickly as I expected. What I should have done is, as you do that first heal, the storm always comes after that first bomb phase, right? Where we all get targeted with an electrical strike. If I'd set up stasis right after that, temporal anomaly, charge up spirit bloom, charge up dream breath, or like verdant embrace, then charge up dream breath for Ysera's, and then that's all packed into my stasis, then I could have walked into there, healed, top some people off, get some reversions down, and then I could have just let it rip, right? To get more stasis out, to get more echoes out, get all that healing done, then reversion everyone, then hit rewind. And I think that would have gotten us through the whole thing. Double rewind was a panic on my part, but I can also just do better on the next one because I should have something up for it. I think I Emerald Commune the next one, and then for the one after that I should have stasis again and Zephyr. So that should allow me to get through another phase. But yeah, grab as many of these balls as you can. They really don't hurt that much. They definitely hurt when we were all leveling and stuff like that. Like you could stack it up kind of high and it would hurt, but not so much anymore. So, and it's worth it. It's worth 100% of the damage you take for it. The healing and damage output's just too much. Steal my orb. They saw me hesitate. I think they saw me hesitate wanting to take one before, and I think that's why they wrote that. This tank was really, really smart. Did a lot of really intelligent things in the run. For a pug, I just couldn't be happier. And then I'm trying to damage whenever I can. I would do more damage here with a perfectly coordinated group, but I want to make sure that I have everything prepared. And then for this one, I Verdant Embrace, I pop Hover, and then I Emerald Commune, get everyone's health up. I pop Hover just instinctually so that I can do moving Hover. And then I Dream Breath, and I start reversioning people because I know it's going to end. Want to throw out this Temporal Anomaly, and then I have to start healing people. So I decided Living Flame was one of my best options there. People use defensives to survive. I think Living Flame was my best option because I didn't have a whole lot of time. And then start getting everyone healed back up. Throw a Temporal Anomaly, right? Fire Breath for damage. Reversion everyone. Okay, great. And then I use the Leaping Flame there for an AoE heal while everyone has a reversion, so that's more healing on them. Dream Breath out to top everyone off. And guess who didn't press Lust? You're right, I didn't. Oops. Don't not press Lust here. But you know what? For the content's sake, if I can do this boss on 19 with no Lust, then with Lust it should be easier. It should be a lot easier to manage. You shouldn't be able to make it through one of the phases without a major cooldown because of Lust. It's just, yeah, don't be me. Don't do that. I forget Lust a little tragically. I think we're going to make a weak aura that just reminds me like, hey, you have Lust, should you use it? Have it pop up in like the top left corner. Also, maybe press my buff button to buff everyone. If you've ever wanted to know what memory problems with ADHD looks like in motion, it's me, and it's right now. So a lot of these packs, honest to God, just CC them when you can. I thought there was a cast bar. I was wrong. But a lot of these moves can be CC'd. Make sure you're using your kicks on stuff to help stop cones and whatnot so people don't get damaged. But honestly, some of them, it really depends on what mobs you pick and how many there are. Sometimes these pulls are like easy, and sometimes the tank gets Mortal Striked for a bunch of damage and then can't heal, and it's a whole thing. just be very proactive with your CC and be very conscious of, yeah, see, we got a Mortal Strike. So I'm looking for what Mortal Strike is, that axe icon. If you don't play Warrior, you might not know what it looks like. Yeah, it is reducing the incoming healing. So it makes them a little tough, but also the tank's doing a good job of kiting, which is great. But yeah, that's what's going on here, is for most of these pulls, your job is to just, right, stop Deathbolt Volley, right, CC any of the wind that you can. Chant of the Dead takes 5,000 years to go off, and whenever Chant of the Dead finishes, Shatter Soul will go off from another mob. So as long as the pull started at the same time, their cast is almost always synced up. But yeah, it's not too hard. Prepare your heals beforehand so that people are ticking. There's not a ton of damage coming in after Shatter Soul, so don't panic when you have to go run and find your ghost, because that's going to reduce your damage and healing output. So you definitely want to go find your ghost. That's a double Mortal Strike, and I don't have time dilation to save them, but they're godlike and they shmove. Yeah, these pulls back to back to back, you can stop these Rotting Winds with CC. I just sit below them and Flame Breath from safe. Nice and easy. You just do this for pull after pull after pull, using Deep Breath whenever you can. Try not to pop your emergency cooldowns on Tyrannical Week here, because Tira and Marook can go kind of bad, right? If the tank can't get them back together again fast enough, right? People are going to start getting blasted. You might want to save an emergency to deal with that. You might want to heal everyone up very quickly after the arrow. I just would hold your emergency cooldown so that if a problem happens there, you can very quickly just press a button and let your problems go away, because you do not want to fall behind in that fight when there's a lot of damage coming in. But let's get into it. Look at that. They lost half their life bar from, what was that, one stack? Was that one stack of them being separated? Yeah, it was like one stack of them being separated. Maybe it was none. But yeah, Priest just got destroyed for it. Now, the start of this fight isn't very hard. You have to be careful of Marook here. Brutalize is going to really hurt your tank's feelings. So just be prepared to heal them. Reversion is probably all you need. Echo Reversion will definitely get the job done. There's another Brutalize that happens afterwards, but if you time dilate them, that won't hurt them. This strat is so risky, and I don't know why it sometimes doesn't work, but you want to stack to the best of your ability on a tank here. You don't have to do this. You can all fully spread and play a bullet hell, which is totally fine, but look at this strategy. All we have to do is dodge one tornado from one of the range that wasn't confident. I bonk, don't do that. And then all you do is heal everyone. That allows for a lot of good DPS uptime, and you as a healer don't have to panic heal it. Everyone's going to be together. So as a preservation evoker, you can do a lot of your cone heals and whatnot, and you'll get everyone. And then after this, you get Repel, which you can instantly kick, and usually someone's prepared to instantly kick it. And then just be very mindful of your positioning, because even hovering over these spots does a very quick burst of insane damage. If you're not over it very fast, 2 ticks might kill you in a 19. I don't want to mess with it. So just when you hear Rend the Earth, make sure your position is good, or be prepared to hold perfectly still dodging, or like after you're done dodging until you can move again. They don't stay around too long, but unfortunately it is a little, I really thought I moved out of that volcanic plume. What are we talking about, Bowser? But this boss, like, as long as you use a defensive on the Gale arrow, you're fine. I am commune because I'm lazy. I want my mana back, and I want to just heal everyone up to full. I wasn't sure how much more damage people would be taking, and it was definitely not a good reason to use it. It was a waste, but I will get that up by the time I need it in the next boss fight, so I'm perfectly comfortable wasting it here. Yeah, notice how I'm moving so carefully there. If I saw the targeting reticle, I would have stayed perfectly still, and then I would have had to have stood like here, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. So then this continues forever. Do we get another? How good is the stack? Hold on. A temporal anomaly, everyone, for a little bit of shielding. Yeah. That one was clean. That is the cleanest stack I've ever seen on that. That's awesome. If you can get that, you're good. But everyone has to be almost directly on top of each other for that to work. Risky. I've never seen it work till today, and then it worked perfectly in this group. So again, couldn't be happier, and that's the whole fight. So woohoo, woohoo. Let's head over to the last boss. By the way, there's a really cool trick to get these two to enter combat and then leave combat, and then you can just pull the boss without them joining, which is pretty neat. But we just go the lazy live key route where you just you grab them anyway and just DPS them down. Again, your best interest here is a healer because there isn't a ton of incoming damage here. It's just pick the higher health target so that you can try to keep those health bars even. Notice that I'm trying to stay on top of the one with more health. Again, that's just so that our AoE players, our cleave players are not stuck in single target for as long. And I think I do a pretty decent job of it. Obviously, if there's too much damage on one, I'm not going to do more. But I would say, what, 10%? Sub 10%? Yeah, look at this. And then other players start evening it out too. No way. Yeah, it was perfect. Oh, they almost died on the same frame. That's insane. But yeah, that's the kind of thing you could do as a healer. That's a really nice little time save. That's not something that's easy to record in detail. So that's a nice little thing you can do. Spear on red, and here we go, Con. So I don't assume people have Dark Iron passive when they're Demon Hunters, because I don't think you can be a Dark Iron Dwarf and a Demon Hunter. So I clear the first bleed. If I notice that they have their Dark Iron Dwarf, then I'll usually let them clear the first bleed, because you can then clear the second bleed, and then you can hold time dilation for the next one. But that bleed is super nice to clear, and later it's a magic effect that you can dispel, so it keeps it easy. Do your single target damage. This boss does not hit hard. You have to babysit the tank a little bit during this. You know, don't stack on people, don't get hit, then find a way to heal them all up. I realize that I want to hit the whole party. Yeah, notice this. If for some of you are like, I know a lot of my viewers have talked about struggling with players positioning and not moving in and being at range. So look here, there's no angle where I can actually hit everyone. I might miss the tank, or I might miss the shadow priest. So I just go, you know what? I can hit 3 people confidently. So I do. I turn, I hit 3 people confidently, and then I just echo reversion the priest, because that'll heal them up. And yeah, they didn't get the heal over time. It doesn't cost much to echo reversion them, and you're good to go. A little bit of babysitting of the tank. They're totally fine. We get another spear, and this just continues for a little bit until we phase. So this phase, okay, if you don't have a Demon Hunter in your, a Death Knight in your group, then hopefully you have someone who can do a single target CC, like paralysis or sap or blind or whatever it is, because you don't want all 4 of them casting. Everyone has to kick their respective mob and then help group them up, but they have to not die while taking tons of AoE damage that you have to heal through as a healer. So even though you might have access to a kick and a way to move the mobs, you might not necessarily have the GCD support to do so. You might need to be full sending and setting up your heals. I have set up a stasis at this point. I have heal over times on everyone. We're sitting pretty for the first few moments, but yeah, CCing them and walking them over is dangerous. So if you can paralysis and sap or blind and knock them, or ice trap is another good example, then kill 2 on the side and then go grab the other 2. If you lust, it should happen pretty quickly. It's going to be a lot of healing as a healer, but if you use your emergency cooldowns to get through the initial burst of damage, and then you hold for a little bit, just healing people with things like temporal anomaly and a stasis setup, you should only need your emergency cooldowns for maybe the tail end of it, but stagger them out, you'll get through it. But we have a Death Knight, so we just grip them in, and ta-da, it's over. So I just let loose that stasis, I throw the temporal anomaly, I clear my thundering, I Zephyr to help with incoming damage. I'm not sure if it works, but damn, it feels like it works. And I only had to use a rewind. I've seen that go bad, and I've had to use all my stuff, but that this group has a Death Knight, and DKs are great, and this is the cleanest run in the world. You're going to be popping a hover a lot here just to dodge all of the thunders and swirlies. Put the static spear behind the rock still. There is an angle where sometimes the charge doesn't come through, so you might save a life. I did not have a defensive. I literally came up just after the hit, but I do live. I think I temporal anomaly there, right? Yes, I do. I don't get it out in time, I think. No, I don't. If I was a little faster, that would have been nicer, but that's just to save me. We do have 3 battle reses, so it wasn't the end of the world, but I used the defensive in an inappropriate moment, so I didn't have it up for there. Conductive strike, just dispel it, and now the tank's sitting pretty. And yeah, just move these clouds out so you don't die, don't stand in it too long. I hit rewind just to be a little lazy. And because it just allows me to start doing damage myself. And this is clean. Like, everyone's doing their job of not getting hit. Everyone's avoiding swirlies. Everyone's popping defensives or doing something when static spear goes off. Because, like, look at it this time. I temporal anomaly the rock. Everyone gets a shield. We all walk out. We barely took damage on that one, right? And maybe that's just due to the way the rock interacts with static spear. And then notice the tank. We're moving into this middle of the battlefield so that we can drop these swirlies and stuff out here instead of dropping them by the rock that we want to fight at, and then we walk it back to the rock. This group was perfect. I have no complaints. I deal with the craziest stuff in Pug. Sometimes I'm the Pug. Shout out to the 10 Azure Vaults I did today. Today is Friday. Y'all, let me tell you, that was I was the Pug. Oh my god, we still cleared that dungeon, but like, to have a run this clean where everyone nails the mechanics and does their damage, I'm just floored, absolutely floored by that run. This group was phenomenal, and I don't think Nokhud Offensive's that easy. So take your time in this dungeon, do some lower keys of it, right? Really feel out those damage phases. Make sure you're watching DBM to see when certain moves are going to be coming up. I know it's not always accurate depending on spell orders going wrong, but I find that most of the bosses in this dungeon typically follow their orders pretty well and are very manageable. But once you get the reps in, you're fine. Save your stasis, use it at the right times. Don't press those emergency cooldowns before the big boss. Remember to press the lust button on the storm boss. And I think you're going to be golden. I'm super proud of this group. They were amazing, and I was a really, really big fan of them. So thank all of you for running with me. It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.